Maltese is feminine, that's another character, because this house has been living for centuries. It's been in existence for centuries and has seen a lot. So through this novel and through the various characters, I managed to tackle, I tried to tackle issues like feminism, but not just feminism, and not just the issue of abortion, but also masculinities, problem of gender, the fact that everything is treated in a binary way, and perhaps that is also a problem, that is everything is male or female. So the 3-day event tried to cover all these aspects. The first evening was about feminist literature, or the novel as a feminist novel. The second evening was dedicated to masculinities, and the final evening we had a gynecologist and a lawyer talking about the issue of abortion. What does it mean? What are the implications, and what could be? How can we tackle this? So that was Malta.
That's fantastic. So even though we've kind of talked everyone out, we have time for 1 or 2 questions. So if anyone has any burning questions you'd like to ask any of our panel, please do. Anything else? Yes, at the back.
Hi. Firstly, thank you so much for that. It was brilliant to hear you all speaking. It's like walking into a house that I didn't know I had, and finding people who are speaking to part of my identity, which has never been expressed in a bookshop before. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And it was like that reading the anthology and finding those scintillas of sort of recognition, and it was a beautiful experience. I can't wait to read the short story collection. I have a question for the panel, which I don't know if it's going to last too long, but I'll throw it out there and then see what you want. It's about Maltese literature, and Loranne, you said at the start you don't actually consider yourself to really be writing within that tradition. I'm wondering if you've got a definition that you're working from when you say that. And then for Kat and Jen, how do you see Praspar in terms of that tradition? What's the response been like in Malta to what Praspar's doing? And Peter, if you're someone like me with sort of half, with a father who's Maltese, I wonder what it feels like to come into the literature as someone with mixed heritage. What that feels like.
Yeah, so I meant several things when I said that I wouldn't necessarily consider, I don't describe myself as typically Maltese writer, in the sense that I don't try to follow what would normally be considered as Maltese literature, so I'm not necessarily focusing on that. But most of all, it comes from the fact that I haven't been living in Malta for 16 years now. So when I started writing 13 years ago, I was still close to. So Malta was still home. So I was writing from that perspective. With every work, I became aware of this distance. So much so that in my work now, there's always somebody who is not Maltese, or if somebody is Maltese, it's someone my age or older. I cannot create characters who are younger than me who are Maltese, because I feel that it's I don't really, I'm not there anymore. So although I go to Malta quite often, so this is what I meant, and also because the writers that I read aren't usually Maltese. So I read a lot of English literature, French, Italian, and Maltese, but the differences in numbers obviously very different.
you want to ask?
Thank you.
Oh, is it? Okay. So when we were coming up with Praspar, we were thinking very much about the UK because this is where we're based, and we're part of the publishing scene here. And then we were in complete shock. Firstly, when we got so many submissions for the anthology, that the way we had it was that you could either be Maltese and living in Malta, or you might be Maltese living abroad, or have Maltese heritage, or also be someone that had lived in Malta for a very long time and considered themselves part of the Maltese literary scene. So there was this big combination. But then having 200 submissions, we realised there's a lot of work out there. We had no idea how many we were going to get. We thought, what if we get 5? It'll be a very small kind of pamphlet. So that was firstly a big surprise. But then, what we didn't foresee was the huge support we had in Malta. So it's kind of started immediately from the Maltese bookshops who wanted the books. Which in the Brexit landscape is very difficult. And then we went to the Maltese Literature Festival last November to do an event much like this. And we brought, I don't know how many books, we brought 50 copies of each. They went immediately after the event finished. And it's been incredible. And I think, Loranne's mentioned it already, I think, but it felt like there was a need. And it's not like we want to be the only publishers of Maltese. We want to exist so other publishers go, oh, maybe we could do a bit of Maltese literature as well. So we want to be a gateway. But it turns out that we're also part of the Maltese literary scene now, which again wasn't what we were initially planning. So that's been a really amazing accident.
And if I could add very briefly, but it's also, I think we appeal particularly to a younger generation, and I think that being that there is really just that there's nothing there. So I think we just filled this kind of gap very quickly, which I think we had a sense of, but we didn't actually know was there. And I think what will be really interesting to see in the next few years, if anybody in Malta responds in the same way. So if anybody now feels like, which we've discussed, Loranne, I know, the need to sort of set up something similar in Maltese publishing Maltese writing, because at the moment there are 2 main publishing houses, probably 1 if we're being particularly sort of picky, and they publish everything. So if you, in the sense that there isn't an editorial process that goes into that, and so it's very hard for even, Loranne and I have discussed this quite a bit. It's even hard to find a publisher in Malta for the books that Loranne is writing, for instance, just because if it sort of ruffles some feathers a little bit, it's not as, you won't have the same support. So that's been really, hopefully that will be part of the reception, will also be to kind of push some younger people in Malta as well to start something as well for Maltese writing in Malta, which would help us as well in what we want to do here.
You asked kind of what's it like for me coming to the. Did you mean coming to it as a writer or as a reader of the work? Did you?
I meant as a writer, but maybe both.
Yeah, because I think what kind of firstly comes to me is more as a reader. To be honest, it's like I'm a fan, so it's just really exciting to see it and to hear about Marta Martin, to have this kind of context extended in my own realm of like what Maltese literature can be and is actually. And for myself, I think it just, like being invited to an event like this, that allows me just to kind of reflect on that sense of identity in my writing a little bit more as well. It's something that I find very difficult, I must say. Like, it probably speaks to why so little of the work that I've written specifically around Maltese identity has been published, or that I've kind of believed in, potentially. So it's something that I would like to work on more and think about more in my writing, because it's a challenge, but that's a good thing, I think. That's kind of where I feel I'm at.
and I think that's our full hour now, and I know it's very hot in here, so I just want to point out that we do have both books for sale. We also have free stickers and postcards made by Praspar Fisher, the fantastic designer of our books. And the postcard gives you the Maltese alphabet with rightly related words, so you can learn a bit of Maltese. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much.